Okay, our session started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for friends from all over the globe. Welcome to participate the INBAR webinar. I am Jing Wei, Capacity Building Manager of INBAR. You are now watching Theme 2, Session 5, Green Economy Development in Mountain Regions with Bamboo. A big thank and compliments to the regular audiences to our webinar events. Thank you very much for your continuous support and attention. I also great to the early arrivals at the event. Thank you for your patience. Mountain regions are rich in forests, minerals, and water resources. They are biodiversity hotspots and the origin and habitat of many plants and wildlife, including bamboo. The natural conditions in the mountains are important leverage of the land ecological stability. However, irresponsible exploitation and unscrupulous damages by human beings had brought serious problems to these heavenly places, such as weak ecological system, frequent disaster hits, poverty, and brain drain. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development explicitly recognizes the importance and the vulnerability of the mountain regions. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has established the Mountain Partnership, with members including 60 national governments, who will take concrete actions and long-lasting processes and policies that strengthen the resilience of mountain peoples and environments, and ensure that nobody is left behind as required by the 2030 Agenda. Bamboo grow widely in mountains and hilly areas. Wise utilization of the local bamboo resources with the full consideration of the local real conditions may help the local people get out of poverty, while at the same time restore the local ecological system. This session will specifically focus on the potential of bamboo for integrated mountain development, livelihood, and environment development, and will showcase different case studies or examples where bamboo is used as a strategic resources for development. Here I am with Professor Zhu Zhaohua, former Deputy Director General and currently Distinguished Fellow of INBAR, Senior Researcher of the Chinese Academy of Forestry, and also Professor Francisca Ali. She's from the Faculty of Sciences, University of the Andes, and she's the General Director of the Botanical Garden Institute of Merida since 2015. And I'm also having here Dr. S.T.S. Lepcha, Vice Chairman of Uttarakhand Sustainable Forum, Advisor to National Bamboo Mission of India. The three panelists are going to present us today the three cases in mountainous regions. First, I would like to give an introduction to Professor Zhu. As a senior researcher, he has been conducting forestry research for more than 50 years. The major research fields include succession of natural secondary forests, agroforestry models, paulownia, genetic improvement and optimization of intercropping models, non-timber forest products, laws of bamboo industry sustainable development, rattan cultivation and industry development, and Lin'an mountainous development model. In recognizing his excellent contribution in rural forestry development and paulownia research, the International Richard St. Bobby Baker Foundation granted him the world's first Man of Tree Award. Prof. Zhu is an all-life research professor of Indian Academy of Forestry, an honorable member of the American Society of Forestry, and the World Bamboo Pioneer. Today, he will introduce the development experiences of a mountainous village in China, where he had been working with other experts for more than 40 years. His presentation title is How Did a Poor Mountain Village Turn into an Ecologically Civilized Affluent Village? The Sustainable Development Model of Baisha Village. So, Professor Zhu, you have the floor.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everybody. I just would like to introduce one of the village in the mountainous area. This is we call the Basa village. Used to a very serious poor village, but now is a very ecological and economic and social sustainable development village. So we call the Basa development model.
麦克风打开，等会儿。OK，您再说一遍，麦克风没打开。
现在还说的？
再说一遍，要重新开始。
哦，现在开始。Okay, I will introduce a village of Baisa village. This is a mountainous small village and in a remote area of Zhejiang province. This village used to be very poor, serious poor village. Now it's become a very rich and ecology and economy and society development sustainably. Mountain play important roles in the restore and the rehabilitation of land ecosystem, the protection of the biodiversity, and amelioration of climate change. However, due to the unreasonable exploiting and destroyed the forest. So large area of mountain region are in the state of dissolution with ecological fragility, frequent disaster, and concentrate poor population and barren and brain. In China, 69% land are the mountain or the hill area. The mountain area concentrate the poor population. 83% of poverty-stricken counties located in the mountain area. So explore sustainable mountain development model, integrate the ecology, economy, and environment, and the social development will help the people and their livelihood and local environment. Sorry. This is the overview of the Basa village. I will tell you a story about the Basa transfer from the weak ecology system, extreme poverty, to the eco and civilized sustainable village. This is the picture compared the old face and present face. Basa village, there are 97% of forest coverage, and the deepness of the slope above 30 degrees. So there are 410 households. Total population is 168. The village used to be serious shrinking by poverty. This is the fossil of panda fox, a fossil of panda teeth was discovered the mountain in Basa area, and this teeth was being 20,000 years ago. As a well-known village in national level, we call the beautiful ecology environment, affluent household, and highly civilized society. The more than 30 honorable title awarded by national and province. For instance, National Ecological Civilization Village, Advanced Village in the National Silviculture Village construction. Basa in the past exhausted resources, weak ecological system, and extreme poverty. The path of the sustainable development from logging to the non-timber forest products development to the ecological and cultural products development. This is the first, how to can be reach the sustainable development. First, should change the people concept about forest resources. The forest resources not only provide have a tree that supply the timber. There are also have shrubs, herbs, various animals, and microbes, and recognizing the multiple function of the forest could help the people know the value of the forest. Protect the restored forest resources, automatically management of the forest. In 1980s, the forest was a contract to the individual household, because in China, you know, before policy, open policy, all the land managed by the collective. Now, in 1980s, after open policy, the land use contract with each household. So each household become the manager of the forest land. after the land contract system and several logging ban brought the improvement of the local forestry resources and the ecological environment. Really, we'll start to respectfully against the disaster. The income of the villages from poverty realized basically guarantee of the food and clothes. That is from 1980s to 1990. And also the income portion, NTMP in 1980, only 30% until year 2097 is 72% of income from NTLP. And the income from 753 yuan to 3,008.06 yuan in 1997. So the Basa village become richer than other village in Lin'an. This is the picture of bamboo in the winter and the spring. They harvest the bamboo shoots. And the bamboo shoots market, the farmers sell their shoots, fresh shoots in the market. And also they process the fresh shoots in dry bamboo shoots. This is the hickory trees, and also mixed with the tea. And this is also why the tea and now become a bigger market, bigger products. This is an NTLP market. So the logging until 1999 was totally stopped. So more than 20 years, no any logging and tree cutting. Basa village started to develop first ecotourism scenery sites in the Zhejiang province. So because we come to Basa village because NTLP, the increased rate was slowly goes down. So we have to further another growth point of economy. So we suggest to develop ecotourism in 1986. And the first scenery attacked in 1998, we start the ecotourism. 48 tourists, this number was wrong, should be 48,000 tourists was attached, just half 6 months. And all the investor was back. And 80% of the villages, they are involved into the tourism service and sell their NTLP products. But in the taking about 5 years, there are some problems we found. First is this village don't have a facility and a condition for restaurant and accommodation for the tourists. So, and another problem is between the villages and the company, tourist company, there are some conflict of benefit allocation. So this is the ecotourism. In order to solve this new problem, the agreement was developed from year 2003. The villages first we sent them to join the international ecotourism workshop and another training workshop. So until last year, there are 209 households. They are managed hostel. The agreement income of the villages totally over 90 million yuan. Total tourist number is about 500,000. So the annual income from agreement is reached 90 million yuan. And each capital income is 65,000 yuan. By US is 9,559 in year 2008. In order to implement the service of agreement, so the government support several training program. For instance, this is a training workshop for cooking, and this is the restaurant of the farm stay, and also they enjoy the local culture and the picking the tea. So this processing of the development of Basa village is to follow the concept of our president. He said, let's say the waters and the Russian mountains are available assistance. So this is the picture show you the per capita income in Basa. From 570 yuan in 1984 to 68,000 yuan in last year. This is doing some survey about the gap between the difference of between household. In year 2005, you can see the income more than 100,000 yuan is 17.6%, and the income of each household over 50,000 to 100,000 is 30.3%. And the family, their income less than 50,000 is 52%. So this kind of structure of income is like a pyramid, type. And in year 2018, I did another survey of different family, the gap of income. This year, above 400,000 yuan is about 10%, and 200 to 400 yuan each household is 23.3%, and from 100 to 200,000 yuan is 23.9%, and but below the 50,000 yuan family is only 16%. So this type of the structure is like olive type, is more reasonable, reduce the gap between of the families. This is they show you three industry structure is changed. For instance, 1991, 70% is from NTLP, and only 8.8 is from territory industry. But now the ecotourism occupy is 75%, and also the NTLP they only take 25% portion. But the value of NTLP is obviously changed. In 1990, only 3 million yuan income from NTLP, even they occupy more than 70%. But now is 20 million, even they occupy 25%. So this is the, we said the change of majority income is from territory industry. The development of ecotourism and agri-entertainment brought a new conflict and challenges we meet. First is the cabbage and sawage treatment because now every year there are more than 1,000 tons of cabbage and sewage was appear. So so this is a new challenge they met, and guarantee the water quality and an increased treatment rate of the sewage water. Every year, about 50 to 60,000 of tons of sewage water so need to be treated. Now 100% of this water was treated, and also the cabbage, the waste of rubbish was also treated, especially collection by realize spiralization, collection, classification, and the transportation. So by the household, and also the village were transported to the to trade those waste materials. And also they have some capital construction for improve their river, and also the construction of their household. And also, in order to solve the problem of a species, was instead to design and improve the quality, because now it's too much tourist, is overload for the government. So the government to try to reduce the beds for the tourists and increase the quality of they try to establish the high quality homestay and a high 14 star of the farmhouse. So this is and why the impact of the villages development model in domestic in China and the world. Until now, there are 102 countries people was visited this village and also enjoying the training workshop. And also this is a field study of the foreign guest. This is also we conduct seminars on integrated sustainable mountain development. So especially in year 2010, we have this forum on the integrated development of the mountains. So in this is the Lin'an development model of mountains was very welcome by international participants. They call the Lin'an model, and also we announced the Lin'an Declaration of sustainable mountain development. Main joint force of BASA development. What is the reason? First is the guide role of the government policy. In the different stage or different challenge or in the different stage, government were involved timely provide relative policy and measures. The principle of the policies is giving more than take. This another reason is the established multiple function, multiple participation mechanism, result mutual benefit and a win-win situation. There's a government, companies, and villages and experts involved in the multiple participation. This is the key experts, including myself, in the village. To promote the scientific development and the scientific innovation. We have carried out some domestic and international projects in this village. An outlook to the future. The BASA model play an exemplary role as an international annotation for President Xi Jinping. A compared successful sustainable model. BASA should strive hard to strengthen weakness aspect, for instance, for the waste material treatment. So in a high quality sustainable development, mountain development, and the training and the capacity building for the villages and the leaders of the village, understanding the capacity of sustainable development, especially, and also taking concentrate measures to PPCP, especially to significantly reduce sowage and cabbage ratios, increase capacity to no pollution treatment and recycling, avoid degraded the land, the soil, so apply the natural near nature model and agroforestry models. Develop traditional culture, also for instance bamboo culture, tea culture, and other culture, traditional culture. This kind, and also I just conclude the history of the BASA development. There are several aspects. The villages, at the beginning, there is the cut the tree, destroy the forest, and then as a manager of NTLP, a producer of the NTLP, then there is a service for the ecotourist. Then now become the boss of the family company. This is a change. And also the people, first they cut the tree, then they just watch the trees, enjoy the trees, and now it's is a major income from ecology. So they first sell the timber, sell the charcoal, then sell the NTLP. Now is sell the ecology and the beautiful landscape. This is the processing of development of BASA. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Zhu, for the detailed introduction of the parts BASA village has gone through and the insights on the major experiences of the village that led to a comparatively sustainable way. Thank you for the model. Sell the timber, sell the NTFPs, and finally sell the ecology. And this is the wonderful green development model of mountainous development. You helped us to learn that sustainable development needs to be achieved through integrated development from various facets and key stakeholders' commitments. to deal with the various challenges emerged in different stages of development. Thank you. Our next presenter is Professor Francisca Eli, Associate Professor of the Faculty of Sciences, University of the Andes. And she's presently also the General Director of the Botanical Garden Institute of Merida, Venezuela. And she is a well-famed Latin American researcher on ecology and environment. She's presently focusing on ecology and the systematics of Venezuelan native woody bamboos, including guadua bamboos, and their utilization by the local people. So let's hear from her. Francisca, please.
Hello, I'm Francisca Eli, and I work at the University of the Andes at the Instituto Jardín Botánico de Mérida. I've been invited to this webinar session to share our work in high elevation Andean bamboos, and in this opportunity I will be talking about their potential to the economy and ecology of the region. So the tropical Andes, more specifically northern Andes, harbor a very high diversity of woody bamboos, and cloud forests are considered hotspots of the genus Chusquea in this region. Now, the highest diversity of mountain bamboo species occur within 2,300 and 2,800 meters above sea level, that is in cloud forests, all the way up to the transitional elephant cloud forests, which are the forests that grow on the upper limit of this ecosystem. So in tropical Andes, woody bamboos, especially the genus Chusquea, cover a very broad elevation range. We have species from 600 meters all the way up to 4,000 meters that reach the high elevation grasslands known as superpáramos. Páramos in general are high elevation grasslands, and they occur between 2,800 meters and about 3,800 meters. And they can be drier or more humid grasslands, whereas the cloud forests are generally start at 1,800 meters and on humid slopes may reach 3,300 meters. In these ecosystems, we have a very high diversity of woody bamboos, and Chusquea outstands as the most emblematic genus of this group, with a very high number of species, many endemic species, and it also outstands amongst other bamboos due to the diversity of growth forms. In cloud forests, we have the viney or scandent growth forms that reach the forest canopy. And in these open grasslands, we have the shorter shrub-like bamboos that are associated to the sclerophyll shrubs and the giant rosettes known as frailejones here. And it is a matter of great concern that these habitats, both cloud forests and páramos, are currently endangered in all the region, especially in Venezuela, due to changes in land use. And it is important for us to stress that bamboos perform many important roles in tropical ecosystems, particularly in cloud forests and, of course, in these high elevation grasslands where there are many endemic animals also that are associated to these bamboos. And to name some of the most important roles they perform are the protection of watersheds and river basins, avoiding landslides and soil erosion, providing also fresh environments. They improve air quality by releasing oxygen, water vapor, and fixating carbon dioxide during the leaf gas exchange. And of course, they improve soil quality because woody bamboos produce a great amount of biomass, and in tropical ecosystems, this is a year-round process. So they're continually adding to the nutrients of the soil, mainly nitrogen and carbon. And one of their most important roles, in my opinion, is their role in forest regeneration, where they act as healers. When they colonize these huge gaps, they are joining, creating corridors between forest fragments, especially when we have big fragments. And this allows the flow of resources and, most importantly, animals, especially birds, to move amongst these fragments. And it is also important to mention that there are habitat to many endemic bird species, some of which are associated almost exclusively to woody bamboos, which is the case, for example, of the barred parakeet and Chusqueata paculu. And there are many endemic species associated to these bamboos. And these woody bamboos are not only a source, they're not only a refuge for these, or shelter to animals, but they also provide food to many small mammals and also large mammals. For those who don't know, the woody bamboos are also consumed by our spectacle bear, which is unlike the panda bear, eats bamboo, but his diet is not exclusive of bamboo. They also consume large amounts of bromeliads. Now, we are very, very preoccupied that these unique high elevation ecosystems are currently subjected to a very intense fragmentation, and we could say almost a destruction. Since the 20th century, these ecosystems have suffered fragmentation due to changes of land use, and this has been aggravated especially the last 5 years. It's no secret that Venezuela is undergoing a very, very severe financial and social crisis. And now that domestic gas, cooking gas, is so scarce, people are using the woody bamboos. They're using trees, they're using wood for as a fuel, as an alternative fuel. So the extraction has intensified very much, and this, of course, is threatening the biodiversity of many plants and animals that are endemic in the region. These changes of land use, specifically agricultural practices, have not started out well in the region. Since they started establishing commercial crops, the farmers accustomed to clear very vast extensions of land, and they would just simply clear out all the forest, leaving these very extensive pastures practically devoid of trees, and they'd only leave very small fragments that are associated to watersheds. And so, of course, this has had a very negative impact on soil. And on the other hand, cloud forests have been negatively impacted due to commercial logging during the 50s, and that lasted almost to the 90s. Of course, not those that are on very accentuated slopes. Mostly those are on flat terrains. But of course, there is where these hardwood species, like the native conifer Retrophyllum rospigliosi grows. That these are very valuable species that can reach up to 40 meters in the canopy. So they were extracted in a very intensive way during the 50s, 60s, and once they no longer had, once this was no longer a good business, they started, of course, extracting the second level of the canopy, and that has affected also elfin cloud forests, that is the upper limit of these forests, where of course the canopy is a lot lower, but these ecosystems have also been severely affected, and you can see here the transformation. And it is very important to mention that, for example, here in this elfin cloud forest, which is 3,000 meters in Venezuela, you can see the bamboos that reach the canopy. Once this is cleared and they leave few trees, they're no longer bamboos, only compact pastures. And what surprises us is that despite the use that the bamboos have had in the region in the past, first by indigenous settlements and then by the rural communities in the northern Andes, they are no longer used. They were originally used to build houses by indigenous communities, and also once they started domesticating animals, to build animal pens, furniture, weave baskets, fabricate hunting instruments, musical instruments, and they would also use the foliage and the tender shoots to feed their animals. After colonization, of course, these houses became more elaborate, and the adobe houses, aside from bamboo, would also include animal dung. Once they started domesticating cattle and they had horses, they used animal dung, and you can see that these evolved in a very nice way, many of these hamlets. The houses at settlements below 1,600 meters would use these giant canes, the rondodonax, así for grass. But above 2,000 meters, they would just use bamboo canes to build these adobe houses. And these are known, the chusquea bamboos that they would use are known as carrizos and cañalata. And at 2,700 meters, the most popular species were chusquea maculata and chusquea de oso multiramia and chusquea affinis albicericia. They have sort of very long culms that can reach 8 meters, from between 6 to 8 meters, solid and very rigid, so they're a good building material. And above 2,800 meters, they would use chusquea, specifically chusquea spenciae, which these can produce culms that can reach up to 4 centimeters diameter at the base when they're growing associated to watersheds. And it's very interesting, we discovered recently that they were also used to prepare hot relishes with agave. So they were also consumed. Now, taking into account that in the past, high elevation Andean bamboos served so many purposes, we believe that it's time to take action and start promoting their sustainable management to contribute not only to the preservation of these habitats, which are very vulnerable ecosystems now, protect endangered species, but also, of course, improve life quality of farmers in rural communities, and offer, broaden the spectrum of sources of income. It's important that farmers learn the importance of preserving fragments and not only bamboos associated exclusively to watersheds. And very importantly, we believe that it's time to start rescuing traditional uses of bamboos in the northern Andes, specifically in Venezuela, recover part of the ancestral and cultural knowledge in this region. And we also are convinced that by a sustainable management using bamboos, we can also alleviate the pressure on hardwoods. Now, our research in this group, we've conducted ecophysiological studies for over 12 years in this group, and we've learned that they are good carbon sinks and they're a good resource because these tropical Andean bamboos have very similar and uniform leaf gas exchange rates across a very broad elevation gradient between 2,000 and 3,000 meters, that is across a broad temperature range, and more importantly, across a broad radiation spectrum, from moderate radiation to high radiation levels, like in the Páramo. And as you can see, they and another important discovery in this group is that they maintain stable photosynthetic rates during the year. Between wet and dry seasons, the changes are very small, and that they are comparable to the rates of temperate bamboos, and they do not differ so much. For example, this Chusquea finicerulata, which reaches a rate of 9, it does not differ that much from lowland bamboos like Wadwa, which are fast-growing lowland bamboo. And it's also important to stress on the point that these cones growing in more shady conditions also maintain positive and very favorable photosynthetic rates. So that means that in general they are very productive. And they are not only efficient in leaf gas exchange and carbon dioxide fixation, but they have the capacity of recovering after a mass flowering event, a gregarious bloom, recovering in a relatively short period of time. Here are pictures I took in between 2004 and 2006, and you can appreciate a regrowth by 2014, for example, in Chusquea puriana. And we also have a case here between a mass bloom that occurred between 2006 and 2009 in Chusquea multiramia, and its regrowth already reaching the canopy by 2017. Those are qualities of a good carbon sink. And Páramo species do not have this gregarious mass blooming. Their blooms are, these flowering events are asynchronous, or we could say even continual for a species. There are always genets in bloom, but since it's only a limited number of genets that are blooming, the rest of the population is thriving, and since they have relatively good photosynthetic rates, that also makes them a good carbon sink. And that also guarantees resource availability for those species that depend on them, not only for refuge, but for food. And Chusquea is also a very good carbon sink because it has solid culms. Majority of the woody bamboos have a hollow internode, right? But Chusquea has solid internodes. So that means more carbon fixated, more fibers, more carbon associated to these heavily lignified fibers. That is why it's such a good multi-purpose raw material, especially for building. And so our aim, now that we have been accumulating so much data related with their distribution in the Northern Andes, abundance, ecophysiology, regeneration dynamics, and we've also been studying anatomical traits, we have learned a lot about this group, and we have managed to select a group of candidates of high elevation species for restoration and sustainable management in the Venezuelan Andes, as you can see here. And so we have one species with hollow culms, which is Didymogonix geminatum, and species with solid culms, of course, the Chusquea, which are sort of like our queen species, with species that grow up to 3,600 meters. And we do have experience in the past. We've carried out important restoration programs, recovering watersheds, planting native bamboos like guadua, and we've produced at a satisfactory scale and distributed them to communities and worked with schools and university students in these restoration programs. And we believe now that with that experience, we should start promoting the in situ conservation of high elevation species. And we also have experience of educational programs with schools and in schools, rural schools, communities that are close to our university and that are close to cloud forests. And we've worked with them and done very interesting activities related with planting and learning a lot about the benefits of bamboo and the benefits of cultivating them and also habitat conservation. So I'd like to thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Francisca, for letting us to have this chance to learn from your rich, informative presentation and strengthened again our awareness on bamboo's amazing roles in ecosystem. And it provides soil and water conservation, and they are healers and they are providers of habitat, corridors and foods and productions of animals, especially their favorable CO2 assimilation rates. At the same time, they are the easiest and cheapest materials for local daily life. I think although the bamboos are quite diversified in species, but they all have the similar favorable characters, such as high eco functions, at the same time highly renewable, easy to manage, and high productive. I applaud for your efforts in educating the children in the rural schools. Their future perceptions on bamboo and their roles would change the world. Thank you again, Francisca. Our next presenter is Dr. Lepcha from India. He is the Vice Chairman of Uttarakhand Sustainable Forum, advisor to National Bamboo Mission of India. He's an experienced Indian forestry official, and he has contributed for forestry and livelihood development in Uttarakhand and in the Himalayan region for over 35 years. He also served as Principal Chief Conservator of Forest and worked as CEO of Uttarakhand Bamboo and Fiber Development Board for more than 7 years. Welcome, Dr. Lepcha. Now it's your floor.
Thank you very much for giving me opportunity. Today, my talk is divided into 3 parts about the origin of Himalayas bamboo, and the culture of that area, and 1 case study from Eastern Himalayas, and 1 case study from Western Himalayas. My talk is very generic, not like Dr. Zhu and Francisca. This is the, you can see the slide. The Himalayas is formed and between the collision of 2 plates in roughly around 40 to 50,000 million years ago. And Himalayas is still a young mountain, is growing by 1 centimeter, and it is very long chain, about 2,500 kilometer in length, and it is also called third pole because of most of the river system like Yangtze, Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra watershed are created from the Himalayas. So this is the Indian mountain region. It is around 16% of the total India landmass, and you can see the in the map that as if it is something like a head and the long arm is sketching. So that on the head portion is the Jammu and Kashmir. It consists of 11 states and 2 union territories. and it goes down up to Myanmar border. So as I say already that this is very young mountain, and because of that the mountain has very diverse culture and very difficult geographically, regionally, and very high rich spawn area because of that type of terrain. So everything you have to plan in mountain perspective in harmony with nature. As I say already that the bamboo is slightly moisture level, and generally it grows around 1,000 millimeter rainfall. So this is the monsoon, Indian monsoon system. We have northeast monsoon system and southwest monsoon system. And because of that moisture laden wind from Bay of Bengal and it reached the mountain area, then rainfall is started. So it's around 100 species of bamboo and total in Indian mountain region. But the 80% of bamboos are in eastern Himalayas, and in western Himalayas, because it is drier and because of that the number of species is less. And we have advantage, as Francisca already told you, that Himalayas also advantage of altitudinal changes. Advantage is there. So there is no any bamboo species in Tibetan plateau area that is called Trans Himalayas. We have higher Himalayas. We have a small reed-like bamboo, Arundinaria, Businia. In middle Himalayas, we have Hamiltoni and Melicona vesifera. They are the major species, but we have lots of species. And outer Himalayas is slightly drier, and we have Dendrocalamus strictus and Pilda. And in the plain area, we call it Tarai. And the mostly household bamboos are there. People are planted in the homestead area. Bambusha tulda and Daltwa are the predominant. So in a mountain region, we have, because of diversity, we have more than 150 communities, and we speak more than 160 linguistic dialects, and our economic structure is still subsistence agriculture. And because of that, in eastern part of India, we are highly dependent on forest and bamboos. And every community knows about bamboo, and they use everything in bamboo. But if you go to western side, the culture of bamboo is very less. And some of the western part of the state, there is still taboo not to use bamboo. See, in eastern part, they use everything. So bamboo as a food, bamboo as an infrastructure and household. So I want to give one case study of Apothemic tribe in Zero Valley of Arunachal Pradesh. They are practicing this bamboo-centric agriculture system. So what they have done is that in the upper reaches of the land, and they have protected the broadleaf forest and pine forest. And in between, they have planted bamboo with blue pipe. And they are so jealously protecting their bamboo garden, and they are fencing and they are walking their bamboo garden, but they are not walking their houses. And so this bamboo is so dear for them, because the bamboo conserves water, and it gives water to the lowland valley system, so that they can get their livelihood totally on rice cultivation and fish. So they get food from bamboo. And they use everything from the bamboo. Even the house, you can see that almost 90% of the house they constructed by the bamboo. And the excess, whatever they have excess bamboo, they sell it in the market. Around average, they get $350 or $400 per year. So another practice in eastern Himalayas, they still practice shifting cultivation. as you know, that this is lesson one. After I have seen that after shifting cultivation, the fallow land is covered by mostly Melopona basifera species and Dendrocolonus Hamiltonite species. Because of that, the fallow land is covered with this bamboo. And bamboo is also important for ecology of that area because especially that eastern boundary with Myanmar, we don't have any ice, glacier or any ice. So it is totally forest-fed mountains. So the bamboo actually conserve 20 to 30% of water in the watershed. And now people are, some farmers are started planting bamboos in shifting cultivated area to stabilize their farming system, and they are getting benefit also. And in our Himalayas region, we don't have very good industry, but we are still based in pre-industrial bamboo industry system. This the people sell bamboo poles, they weave mats and sell it in the market, and incense stick they make with hand and handicraft and some furniture. And those pre-industrial material goes down to the plain area, and they convert it into mostly bamboo timber, and these bamboo timbers are used in housing. And this Professor Zhu has already told us the importance of bamboo and ecotourism. In high Himalayas, we have a musk deer, and musk deer thrive in the this bamboo forest that we call it Ringal. And actually, this bamboo gives food, shelter, and cover for the pig. And because of this musk deer population, but other prey animals also habitat there. So we don't have any exact data on this ecosystem, ecotourism, but now at least it's just a guesstimate that 1 to 2% of economy is getting from this type of ecotourism. So similarly, in the low tropical area, we have bamboo habitat with elephants. India, we have around 30,000 wild Asian elephants, and also we have tiger habitat with bamboo forest and mixed forest, and we have 300 tiger. I think almost 70% of total world population is in India. So as Professor Zhu said, we have a tremendous scope for developing ecotourism, and we'll get a service benefit from service sector from the bamboo. This is the one case study from the Western Himalayas. Basically, this strategy may be for can be used for non-bamboo growing areas. So what we did is that our main focus was initially on resource development. Then once resources developed and we have aware the community, then slowly enterprise development started with infrastructure development. Once it has started, people seeing the money is coming from the bamboo, then the people-to-people networking is very high, and that knowledge management extension is done through the people. So this is one of the strategy. So slightly detailed, I will mention. So what we did in resource planning is that, as you say, as already told by Professor Zhu and Francisca, so we have divided plantation into bamboo plantation into three parts: ecological value, where we planted for musk deer, elephant, and other species, and sustenance value, those species which are used by the community for sustenance. For example, for artisan who needs sliver, it should be soft. The bamboo should be soft and longer internodes. So, but the commercial bamboo may not be soft, or maybe small internodes. So there is a variation. So we have divided for ecological, sustainable, and commercial value plantation. Similarly, but initially we have started quality planting material, and we have developed the centralized nursery. From centralized nursery, we have distributed plant to women nursery and farmers nursery. From there, we have propagated the plantation from those nurseries. And this is the key, actually, the awareness and sensitization. Because I already told you that in Western Himalayas, we have a stigma to grow bamboo. So we did around 40,000, we reached around 40,000 households through campaigning through electronics, folk media, and workshops, village meeting, and we have created one-stop center for demonstration. And people go and see and believe. So that type of concept we have developed. Once they are sensitized, then we have given little training on handicraft, furniture, housing, even nursery, how to start nursery, plantation technique, and slowly almost 3,700 artisans was trained at that time. And we have developed master trainer also. And those master trainers are again used in different government programs. And there is a concept of common facility center where the artisan came and used the center. This is by the government common facility center, and they give the lease amount to the common facility. But everything is invested by the government. And not only the training, actually, we develop their capacity also. In a small group, we train them how to document minutes of the meeting, how to do little bit accounting, so that those people know that how to keep bookkeeping and all this thing. And those groups are converted into cooperatives, and cooperatives are again federated, so that at least from one village they should get some minimum economic viability of product, so that any outsider companies come and pick it from the villages. So that was our concept. Initially, the government, our board only started doing market promotion, especially in the major trade fair, national international exhibition, and initially the government also, state government also purchases furniture or souvenir item from the villages, so that they get immediate some income, and they will become enthusiastic and they then produce more. That was our strategy. Apart from that, there was two national bamboo mission. It was started in 2006, but again it's restarted in 2018 by the Government of India. And the difference between earlier and this one is that this new national bamboo mission is focused only on bamboo plantation on non-government forest area. Mostly they are promoting on private forest, so that the people will get direct benefit, and to start small micro enterprise in the village level. So this is very generic, but outcome in last 10 years, what I see is that the more farmers are interested in bamboo plantation in their farm boundary, shelter bed, and block planting, even agroforestry they have started in some area, and the value of bamboo has recognized, and the watershed development also, they have started planting bamboo for the purpose of wildlife also. They have started planting bamboo and rural entrepreneurship. So this is a very generic, but what we calculated that around 1,000 USD per annum is they are getting now from craft, furniture, and household integrated system. So now this model is validating, so that now private sectors are also coming up to investing in bamboo development and bamboo factories and all this. But still there are gaps are there and lots more to do, and there are many challenges. And because we are still in pre-industrial phase, a little bit moved to industrial phase. So as per Professor Zhu said, that to reach service sector is very difficult. It took almost 40 years for that Professor Zhu to reach that stage. So we are hopeful that we'll reach one day. Thank you very much for my talk, and if there is any question, I will like to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lepcha. I believe all the three panelists are amazingly agreeable with each other on the ecological functions of bamboo in mountain region, and at the same time, their significances in local people's livelihoods. It is very nice to learn about the wisdoms of local people in the Himalayan region in applying bamboo in daily production, life, and their culture. Dr. Lepcha had introduced the past of community bamboo development in the Himalayan region. He stressed the importance of raising the awareness and training for local community in developing bamboo. He also introduced the bamboo entrepreneurship the government has been supporting, and the research works done by scientists to help with the community bamboo development. Together with Professor Zhu, Dr. Lepcha reaffirmed multi-participation is a key factor. Now, I think all the three panelists has finished their presentation. Now we start the Q&A session. Our first question came to Professor Zhu. Professor Zhu.
Okay.
The first question is that, as you know, bamboo forests in many countries are unmanaged. Based on your experience in China for providing bamboo forests to farmers, what are the successes? What are the successes and challenges? I think this question coincides with Francisca's question. Maybe you could answer both of them at the same time. She would like to know, would it be possible to access publications of your positive experience in the development of Baisha? It's a great model for other countries like Venezuela, where bamboos are not appreciated by farmers and local inhabitants. So could you explain to us how to raise the awareness and how to raise the interests of the farmers in managing bamboo forest?
I think the first very important should let the people know what is the value of the bamboo. Because in Latin America and Africa, most of people, in the past, they don't understand the value of the bamboo. In Baisha village, also the people at first only know the value of the timber. So the income mainly from 80% of the income from logging. But the problem is to destroy the ecosystem. And after we know, I said you should pay more attention for the NGFG, include the bamboo. That time, all the bamboo is natural, not managed, because they don't think they have a high value. Then after we train them how to improve the management and just a very simple technology. For instance, natural bamboo always very dense. It's too dense, so they grow not very good and the less shoots production. So we train them just thinning, at least 60% of the bamboo, all the bamboo was cut it. And then they have a space to grow new shoots. After have new shoots, they can sell the shoots and very high value. Then the timber, several times of income more than the wood. So then they have interest to manage the bamboo. At first, natural bamboo is very lower, lower productivity. But after we train them, several times higher than the natural. The natural bamboo forest become like a plantation after manage it. So you can, for instance, in Anji, you cannot make a difference. This is a natural or a plantation. Because even myself, I don't know. Anji's bamboo forest, the originally is natural or planted, because this lasts thousands of years back. You don't understand. For instance, the tree square in Venezuela, this is a beautiful species. But if you look in the mountain area, no manage it. And also the shoots not be used. But the shoots is in China market is very expensive. More than the combs of the bamboo. So this is, I think, first you have to know what kind of technology. After you take the technology, you can increase the value. After they have a value, high value, the people were interested to manage it, intensive manage it. So this is, I think, no matter this is the original is natural or planted.
Okay, Professor Zhu, thank you for answering the question.
Jinwei, please unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you, Professor Zhu. Thank you for the nice explanation. I think it is very important for us to take the scientists to pioneer into the research of bamboo management, and first establish some demonstrations on the high yielding and high efficient management of bamboo forest, and with high value. And therefore, I think they will raise the awareness and also the how to say interests of the local farmers to manage bamboo forest, to follow these models, and so you can also create some community as model community or model households, and to show to the other communities nearby. I think that's very important experiences from China. Thank you, Professor Zhu. Scientific research is very important. And next, we are having a question for Francisca. Francisca, how many species of chusquea is available, and how many of them are woody and or can be commercially used? Would you please?
Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay. Well, the number in the American continent is, I think it's over 185. The number varies because there are many new species and described. Venezuela, here in the Andes, we have probably about 14 species, but of that group, I would say maybe only of high mountain species. There are probably only three or four that could be used. Two rapid cloud forest species, maybe Chusquea fendleri and Chusquea maculata and Chusquea affini which reaches very high altitudes, and they all have say a reasonable diameter at the base of the culm. Even Chusquea spenceae, that would be about 4 species, maybe 4 to 5 species. Paramo species are very small, but Chusquea spenceae is a paramo species, and in optimal conditions, it can reach a growth of 4 centimeters the diameter of the base of the culm, but that is in watersheds. It's not in paramos, open paramos, it's less than 1 centimeter. So as Dr. Xu was explaining, of course, I guess here we would have to classify the uses. Some would are probably more edible, the cloud forest ones, and some can be used a bit more in construction.
Jingwei, please unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry again. I think Francisca, the Chusquea has many uses, not only for housing, maybe also we can explore for furniture, and also maybe as they are growing by the watershed, maybe they have soil and water conservation role, and especially for the high mountain area, maybe for to prevent landslide or this kind of disasters. I think they could be very, very valuable for greening also for greening the degraded land. Just now, Professor Zhu mentioned it's very useful, even for shoot purpose, for edible purpose. They have such kind of use. Yes, yes.
Yes,
so,
there are at least 3 species that are
yes.
edible.
Yes, so that's very pleasant result. I think our researchers can go deeper with the research on the commercial use as food and as timber materials. Thank you. And our next question is for Dr. Lepcha. So high elevation bamboo in India around
Yes.
Dinarea seems similar to Chusquea. Means
Yeah.
yes, around Dinarea seems similar to Chusquea.
Yeah.
So what is the range of highland bamboo in India?
It goes up to in Eastern Himalayas 12,000 feet. And in Western Himalaya, the snow tree level is down, so it goes up to 10,000 and 11,000 feet.
And oh, that's already
from
very high.
Yeah. From 6,000, it starts with 6,000. It goes up to 10,000
feet.
Yeah.
Oh, feet.
Feet.
Yes, feet. Okay. And
so it is hollow. It is hollow, not like Chusquea.
Not like Chusquea. So what would be their use? Can they be eat or do construction?
They use in construction also, and the bamboo shoot is very tasty. That small one, and they make baskets out of it in Western Himalayas, and sometimes they use as a straw, and now they are making pen and bamboo straw out of that. But this species is very good for winter fodder. When there is a snow, this species, the leaf is green. So most of the wild animal, they use it. And even the farmers, they plant it in the farm risers, in the bunds. So they get it fodder in the winter. So it's very valuable bamboo species. And it grows underneath the tree. So that is also advantage. So it doesn't need any space.
Yes, I think Arundinaria is very similar with what Professor Zhu mentioned just now, the bamboo shoot species in Baisha village, and also very similar to Chuskuya, right? So they are all small-sized bamboo, but they are very strong and they are versatile. And they can be used for, they all can be used for food purpose. And in China, of course, we have this tradition. I think in India, you also have the tradition of eating bamboo. And and so there is a potential, a great potential, because as Professor Zhu introduced, the bamboo shoot is sold in the market, in the NTFP's market, in the tourism area. And they have very high value, economical value, and they are basically one of the products which lifts the village out of poverty. So I think we can all consider to develop this small-sized and high elevation bamboo species. Yeah,
but in
they're quite
northeastern India, the bamboo shoot generally used from Dendrocalamus hamiltoni and Melocona brassicula, major two species.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are bigger bamboo. And
yes, they are bigger.
Bigger and plenty available in the forest.
Yes, and versatile and evergreen. Yeah, so very good for landscape at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, so in Baisha, the species are Philostakis. And so in the Andes, they are Chuskuya, and in India they are Arundinaria. So yes.
All our bamboos are clump farming, not the monopoly, not like Philostakis. So you see, our bamboos are clump farming.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lapcha. And our next question is again for Professor Zhu. So this attendee said, thank you so much for pointing out the linkage between bamboo development and tourism. Was infrastructure development for tourism and all the trainings paid by the government, or how else was financed? How else was it financed? How could we develop such schemes best in other bamboo producing countries, and how to best advertise it? For example, bamboo tour, like trekking or visits to factories. Thank you. Yeah. So this is about us. Beside the government, is there any other sources of finances for the tourism, Professor?
For the government, for the promoted ecotourism, the main role is the policy and measures. For instance, in the first stage of development of ecotourism is the know what is ecotourism. So this is let the people know, let the people believe. Develop ecotourism can make income, more income than others. So this is at the beginning, Basa village, they don't believe the ecotourism. They don't believe the Shanghai people, Hangzhou people can come to this remote village. So they don't understand. So this is, I think, what they should know, how to do it. And so the training, the first, the government pay attention and give some support. And training is free of charge. Yeah. And another investment after develop the ecotourism. So very important is the capital construction, especially the road. Road construction is very expensive because in the mountainous area. So this is the government give, I think, a major part of finance for the capital construction, especially road. And another is established a how to say that the tourist service office. This office is the government owned, but managed by the company. They provide the information. The tourist should know where I should go, where is good for me. So they have information for all the information of this district, and also provide the transportation for the tourist. But this tourist have to pay. But they should know how I can go there. Yeah, and also they set up a standard of ecotourism or the farm stay. What kind of room, what kind of WC, what kind of food. They have a certain kind of standard. If you reach this standard, you can manage the farm stay. If you don't have this kind of condition, it cannot, no permission. Yeah. So another, I think the government, they pay the environmental control. This is, should every village, if they develop the ecotourism or farm stay, they have to solve the pollution problem. So this is the government, what do they do? And also this kind of the waste materials, the classification, and then some part for the fertilizer, yeah, and some of them for the other industry. That is goes to the company. This is a big company, not just only for Baisa waste material, also whole district. They transport over there, and they have different company processing in different, for instance, energy, fertilizers, and another products. This is after classification. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhu. I think it is the government role. It seems, as you explained, the government's role is to providing supports and services, and providing an environment or some guiding principles for the development of the local tourism and ecological tourism, and especially to setting up standards and providing and push forward for the community to promote the conditions to meet the requirements. So I think also there's as you has explained, there is also participation of the companies and this new type of companies who treat the this waste, and also these new companies who treat the sewages, and also probably there's participation of the investments from the communities, like some labors to investments to help with the improving of the environment and the control of the of the standards for ecotourism. So thank you, Professor Zhu. Our next question is for Francisca again. So Francisca, this question is about Chusquia again. So can Chusquia tolerate snow for long period? If so, what is its ideal agroclimatics regime for higher reaches? Many highland areas in Africa and Asia can be its habitat. It is possible to get seeds. So can you answer this?
Okay. Well, both cloud forest and chusqueas and páramo chusqueas tolerate freezing temperatures, but it is important to remember that although they can supercool and they are exposed to freezing temperatures, they're not regularly covered with snow. They're subjected to freezing temperatures above 3,000 meters, but for very short periods of time, it's just sort of like frost. And so they supercool. That means that they lower their the tissue freezing temperature. So they never suffer intercellular frost or ice nucleation. So in general, they tolerate well, but it is important to remember that it's only at dawn around after, let's say, probably 3 o'clock in the morning to maybe 6 o'clock, there might be freezing temperatures, especially in the dry months. The dry months here, February, March, January, they're exposed to freezing temperatures, but it may not be every day. It can be any month of the year, but usually the freezing temperatures concentrate on dry months. So they do tolerate, but we don't know how they would respond to a permanent snow cover. But in general, they're very much like Fargesia, which is exposed to snow. So as long as the temperatures are not very low, they're close to zero, they probably would tolerate, but we don't know if maybe the leaves might suffer a bit of frost damage, that they sort of wither, because they're really perennial. They have leaves all year round. The seeds aren't easy because although, for example, in páramo species, the high altitude grassland species flower. I've examined many times these inflorescences, and there are no seeds. They don't form the caryopsis, the fruit. So it's not that easy to get seeds, and they don't adapt very well when you take them to lower elevations. For example, páramo species, we've tried not successfully here at 1,800 meters, and I guess it's too warm for them. So the seeds, like most bamboo seeds in general, have a very short viability. It's very limited, and what little regeneration we have done in our botanical garden is with plantlets, digging out plantlets, because of course the soil needs all that rhizosphere, all those, they do have mycorrhizal associations also, they're grasses, so not as common as dicots, but in general it's important to transplant with soil. Also peat, if you have moss, peat, that can help. I do believe that they could be planted in African highlands because they're also tropical, sort of like tropical alpine environments. So I do believe it's feasible to plant in other tropical high elevation conditions and subtropical climates as well. I wouldn't know. I don't think that they have that much cold hardiness in temperate latitudes.
Thank you,
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that answers. I think when considering to move one species to a different location, or say to where it has never been growing, like to introduce a species to another site, site. So we need to be very careful. From Francisca's explanation, we know that bamboo species, although they are faster growing and highly renewable, but they have very special requirements for their habitats. and the conditions are quite strict. And so we need to do tests for introducing. It doesn't mean that they could not be introducing. And what would be the best way to introducing them, and what would be the limit? And we need to, how to say, still do some test and research. Yeah, our experts say it's possible if the commercial value of the bamboo is very high, so it's worthwhile that we introduce, we think about research on the introduction of the species. So how to make it to a different site, we need to do further work. So still scientists should pioneer in this area. So yeah, thank you, thank you. And next question for Dr. Lepcha.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so for Apothemic bamboo, which is Pilostachys basmosodis, specific in one location, or it is spread outside of the tribal areas as well? And so this is the same question as, so they can adapt to a wide range of areas?
Actually, that the new name of that bamboo is Pilostachys manai. Previously, it was called bamboo soides, but it is re-identified. It is Pilostachys manai. Actually, that bamboo growing tradition is only in the Zero Valley of that region. So it is, the valley is around say 50 square kilometer. So quite big valley, and people also started planting other side of that valley also, but I don't think that is not coming that well, but still they are practicing outside the valley. But very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I think it's valuable or has some significance to develop this species for the local area, because if they are specific for the area, they could be developed into high value products. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Lepcha. So our next question for Professor Zhu again, and based on your long and fruitful experience, could you give us an estimate of the minimal time period needed to transform a village and educate them in the management and uses of bamboo? Means the minimal period of time for transforming a village to develop and educate them in the management and uses of bamboo. How long does it took to educate them?
This is difficult to answer the question, because it depends on what is the purpose of the management of bamboo. If you, for the bamboo shoots production, the training for the management, I think 1 day is enough. Yeah, they will know how to manage it, improve it. But the most important is new concept of how to manage the bamboo forest. I just told you the density of the bamboo is so different. If you want to produce more corn, the density should be less, and if for the shoots, should be more space for the individuals of bamboo. Yeah. For instance, for the bamboo shoots, I think per hectare, 3,000 is enough. I mean, most of bamboo. If for the corn, majority is corn production, I think should about 8,000 to 8,000 per hectare. Yeah. So it's so different. Yeah. More if you want more shoes, you should less stem of bamboo. Yeah. So I also want to say people always more pay attention large size bamboo species. Just you mentioned about the Dendrocalamus. Yeah. But in China, the small size bamboo species are always more valuable. Yeah. Because they have wide use. Yeah. Especially for the handicraft, they can produce very good slavers. Not like Dendrocalamus. It's difficult. Yeah. And also for the bamboo shoots. The small shoots in the Himalayas, also in the high mountain, also very delicious bamboo shoots, you said. Yeah. So small size bamboo shoots always more valuable than big size shoots. But the people always, oh, this is so beautiful bamboo. Yeah. They always, at the first, they not pay attention. These small size shoes, like a shoes care. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Professor Zhu.
They always mention about the guadua.
Yes, guadua, big size, yeah, and very straight. Yes. I think Professor Zhu has mentioned very important key issues for this question. How long? How long means how long you get the farmers understand bamboo's value, and how long you can teach them how to manage scientifically, reasonably manage the bamboo forest. And so this may take a different period of time. Here he explained, depending on the forest purpose, your manage purpose. So in China now, the farmers is managing for so many years, so they understand the profit come from different products, the shoots, the combs, and different seasons, what kind of shoots, how many of them. So they will apply different management in different, if they wanted to get the utmost value out of the bamboo forest they are managing. So they have different management, like Professor Zhu has mentioned, the density and also the methods, like fertilizer application and seasonal management. So this is very interesting. So basically, I think Professor Zhu has explained just now. The first thing is awareness raising is to change their concepts towards bamboo. So this takes probably some lectures and probably some persuasive issues, and most importantly, probably 1 year or 2 years demonstration through a model household or model community. So after this process, the others will see the value of bamboo, and then they will follow this model. And in that case, and it takes, like Professor Zhu, maybe in the field, an experts can teach to the farmer in 1 day how to do. so it takes field classes. So this is, I think it is very interesting, some method for awareness raising. Yeah, I think Dr. Lepcha also have similar experiences in dealing with community households.
Yes.
Yes. We have to be psychologists rather than bamboo expert to deal with farmers and community. So we have to change their subconscious mind.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So we have to change our role from technician. We have to convert it into psychologist.
Yeah, so it's
constantly you have
related
to change the
with
role.
culture. Yeah, yeah.
So
It's
you have
related
mentioned,
with culture.
yeah, related with culture, and I think you have mentioned that one-stop center we have created at Uttarakhand. We have created 6 places. That is a demonstration center. Actually, people used to go and see that place. We cannot manage throughout Himalayas. No? Himalayas is very difficult, dispersed place. So we have created 5-6 small demonstration area. So that actually help us to spread the message. I think that should be the strategy. Actually, if technician or any government people tell you do this, you do that, people doesn't believe. But
Yes.
if you see themselves, their own eye, then they will say, okay, it is doable. It is. I think that is the best.
I think the demonstration is very important. In Lin'an, we have a demonstration village or demonstration household. For instance, the government always invite 1 or 2 household who is more high education, more interested in new technology. So we invited them. Every village have 1 or 2 participants join the training course. And then we call this household participants. When they back to the village, they were training their neighbors, the other villages who interested to the new technology. So we call the demonstration household. This will give, government will give the lesson. Yeah, this is, we call the farmer technician. Yeah, this kind of is a system, from district government to township government to the village. So this is extension, technology extension service system. Yeah.
And the government also award the best producers. Yeah. So they got the
demonstration household will give award.
Yes.
Maybe director give the money or give the fertilizer, and also give the lesson. Yeah.
Give a certificate.
Certificate.
Yeah, in a big meeting, show to all the other villages and counties. And so this is a kind of honor. And so they raise their social status. So this kind of encouragement. If you wanted to do this, I think the authorities needs to provide this kind of incentive mechanisms to help the local communities to go to a different way, right? And so they make them believe. Yeah, seeing is believing. So next question for Francisca. I think today we are bound to Chusquia. So what is the rainfall distribution for most Chusquia species? Rainfall distribution.
Okay. So it varies, of course, across a broad gradient, because we have bamboos, as I showed in the slide, from 600 to 4,000 meters, which would be over 10,000 feet. And so, of course, the cloud forest species are much more humid environment, but it's important to remember that cloud forests are not rainforests. So they do not receive really heavy precipitation. It's a lot of fog, mist, the cloud, it's what we also call horizontal precipitation, more than vertical precipitation. So that is why it can be in cloud forest over 1,000 millimeters up to 1,800 millimeters or 2,000 millimeters. Sometimes 2,200 millimeters in cloud forest, but very humid. That depends, of course, on the slope, the orientation. It can change in a very short geographical, let's say, surface. You have in an area, it changes very much according to the slope, of course, the angle and the orientation. So it's now as we ascend on this gradient up to the high altitude grasslands, we also have dry paramos and humid paramos that can be sort of like bogs. And of course, the humid ones have more bamboos, but there it's also a bit of cloud formation, although radiation is higher at midday and morning hours, but it can be between, it can be 800 or only 600, no, more around 800 millimeters where we have bamboo. But for example, Chusquea grigallensis, which reaches 4,000 meters above sea level, which is very high. It's a dwarf shrub bamboo. That paramo is between 700, 800, but it is in a sort of like a microenvironment protected between some slopes in a valley where there's a small bog, and that's why we have only a single population there, and all the rest of the paramo around it is dry. So it's a pretty difficult question because in tropical Andean mountains, the topography is very heterogeneous, and so you have many like different microenvironments as you go higher up. I don't know if I've explained myself well, but of course it's in general. In conclusion, the rainfall is not as heavy as it is in Asia, for example, and in lowerland rainforests.
Yes, and so I think Francisca is saying that Chusquea still likes humidity area most, right? Yes, and but Chusquea can survive in above 4,000 meters, so they could be there. The soil might be very shallow, not very thick, and so they could grow there and bond the soil there. And so that means he means that kind of micro ecosystem bamboo is very important. I think. But she might not sure that if Chusquea can stand heavy rain, that means if in a heavy rain area, if they are flooded, probably they might not be able to survive. Maybe we don't know.
Well, maybe not flooded, but very humid. Yes. Let's say more rain, it's better. More shoots, of course, they thrive. But let's say not flooding that could be last for, let's say, for many weeks or something. But as long as there's drainage and they're not clay soils, as long as they're not very compact, they can be very humid and they develop very well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Chusquea has very important roles in binding the soil. At the same time, in the rain,
yes.
They could help conserve the water. I mean, definitely yes. they can help with this. Chusquea could be a very useful species for this kind of treatment. I mean, especially in the climate situation. If we are dealing with a climate situation and possible landslides in the mountainous area, we might consider Chusquea species. Yeah. So this is affirmative. Yes. Thank you, Francisca. So next question is for Dr. Lepcha.
Yes, please.
So, are there any NGO supporting ecotourism in the region?
Yes, there are NGOs that are supporting ecotourism.
Yeah, like what kind of NGO? Can you explain?
So mostly NGOs means non-governmental organization.
Yes, yes,
So yeah,
non-government organization.
yeah,
Yeah, like societies.
yeah, societies, and basically they train people on how to, especially on what should I say, the communication in between that. Professor Zhu already told you that communication between the customer and the people, something
The
like that.
similar. Yeah, similar.
Similar.
Like
And
they are bridges.
yeah, they are the bridges making, and they train also some people to train how
Mhm.
to behave with the customer, and how, what are the, not the standard, but how much will be the standard, the hygiene, how to behave, something like that. And now government also, now they have seen the prospect of ecotourism. Now government also giving loans or subsidies to develop this thing. So it is coming up well, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's take time. Yeah, but the
yeah.
standard slowly developed. So it's a very high. I think this is the only method we can protect our ecology and can earn money from seeing the forest. For example, in
Yes.
Japan, there is a concept of uh, forest bath. Similarly, the bamboo bath also there is a concept. So it is a high level of ecotourism. So it is a most, I think, medical tourism. So that
Mm-hmm.
I think that level we have to reach.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Lepcha. I think we agreed that the role of the NGOs are very important in helping the local community, because I think the community people are not very powerful in making changes, but these NGOs could like entrepreneurship has this kind of entrepreneurship, and they could uh, help with the bending of the policy, or communicate to the authorities, and communicate to the powerful and finance organizations to change the situation for the community area. So this could be very, very important, and they also cares about the community's benefits, and they also cares about the local culture and the local ecosystem environment to keep it consistent. And so this is this kind of organization is very necessary when we are starting to helping the community in the mountainous area. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lepcha. I think that's what you mean. Yes.
Yes. Especially
Okay.
that pollution that Dr. Ju made that solid waste, like plastics and water pollution, that should be teach early stage to the villagers. Otherwise, it will be a menace if the tourist comes in flux. It's very difficult. So that standard we have to fix in early stage and teach them how to do it.
Yeah, this kind of very difficult problems involving many different beneficiaries. I mean, and this kind of benefit conflicts needs to be the NGO to help to find the best way to resolve. Maybe from policy, maybe from other kind of models, development models, very innovative. Yeah. I think this is the way, as Professor Zhu also mentioned he said in different stages of development there's different problems and challenges, and so maybe in different regions these problems and challenges are also quite various. And so the local NGOs is necessary to help to find the best innovative way. So thank you, Dr. Lepcha. I think there's many questions, but our time is is finished. So you will our audience. Thank you for the audiences who has kept with us, who has been following us till now. So I think I need to wind up this session today. And we have very good discussion about bamboo and the mountainous people's livelihood, and at the same time to balance the development of the ecological environment and also the local economy. And we have a very good conclusion, I think, awareness raising, education, and also technical researches and the demonstrations and the multi-participation are all very important issues, key factors to ensure that development is sustainable and successful. So I think I need to wind up today. And thank you to our panelists and to the audiences who had patience to hear us until now. Please keep on following our future webinar events. So next week, we are going to present you the bamboo biomass energy development potential in Africa, and 3 cases of national bamboo development in Asia. In the following months, we shall seek to improve the quality of our webinars. Please stay tuned. Okay, good day. Thank you. Thank you all, panelists.
Bye.